Hi, I'm Liz Morell. I'm the research editor for Internet Retailing and editor for eDelivery. I'm here with Sid Holian of Bis Henderson Consulting, and we're talking about a series of 3 ebooks that we're working with you on agility in the supply chain. So why it's needed, the business case for it, the people, systems and so on required for it. So why is agility in the supply chain such a hot topic at the moment?
Well, I truly feel that the rate of increase in e-commerce is unparalleled from any time we've seen in the past. Demand that used to be running at 3% of retail sales is now 17%. We anticipate within 3 or 4 years that could be up to 30% of trade. And if you think that the spend in the UK is something like £70 billion a year at this current moment in time, and NHS spend is only £130 billion a year, it really gives you the scale of where this is going. And not only that, but new market entrants, Alibaba about to enter the market, potentially bigger than Amazon, massive impacts in the marketplace. And the amount of change, the amount of new entrants, and clearly the fact now that the consumer is so empowered, they drive the landscape completely, they're wanting more choice, and of course at this moment in time they're showing less brand loyalty than ever. So it's absolutely the right time. And most of the high street retailers are seeing it. They're seeing a slowdown or a reduction in traditional growth, and they're seeing obviously their growth where they have it, certainly coming from the e-commerce arena.
So how can traditional retailers react to that? Because you say there's that increased customer demand, they've got pure plays coming in that aren't kind of encumbered by the sorts of infrastructures that they are. So they're looking and they're hearing about agility, but they're like, how do I do this? What first steps do they need to take?
It's an absolute real problem for them because, first of all, as you mentioned, Liz, they have this infrastructure that has been built over many warehouses for many years. And of course, to flip that into something that can provide e-commerce solutions, it isn't a quick thing. It's highly expensive. Your typical large automation for a retailer to handle e-commerce could be something in the 50 to 150 million pounds range. And yet, of course, as I mentioned in the first question, there is this unknown about where the market is going to go. And so they face this, this incredible dilemma. They have to change, but what do they change into? What do they morph into in the future? So it is an absolute real challenge. And I think if you look at the situation that historically they may pick a store order that may be 5, 10 pallets of product or hanging rails of product. And now, of course, that's one order could turn into 5,000 orders. 5,000 orders that needs to be personally packed, delivered to high response times, and also personalised for an end consumer. It really is turning water into wine, and it's a massive dilemma for them. So it's going in the right way to not be bleeding edge, but to be leading edge, follow the trailblazers, be there at the front end, but again, showing the versatility in the solutions that you develop, because the only thing that is certain is the landscape will change again.
Yeah. In our ebooks, we've focused on the elements needed, so we focused on people, we're focusing on systems, technology, infrastructure.
Yes.
What's the kind of most important of those, or how do you get the balance of those 3 right?
Well, all 3 are absolutely critical. The solution is fundamental in the modern day, and making sure that the flexibility is developed in it to handle whatever may hit you. The labour side of things is something that we know with Brexit is going to give us much further challenges. A lot of transient labour isn't going to be here. We know there's going to be other impacts from Brexit on inflation that basically will remove consumer spending on areas such as, for example, as high fashion. So labour is certainly going to be a big issue, and the technology, which is what this conference is about, really sits there alongside it. So it's really coming at all angles currently.
What about retailers that ignore this need to be agile? I mean, can you ignore it? What will happen if they do?
They can't ignore it, and it's in some ways it's their worst nightmare in terms of the situation that they're faced with now. If they have an approach of doing nothing, then they're going to fall behind the times. Again, I mentioned the likes of Alibaba and Amazon. In some ways, these organisations now are pure portals. Pure portals for handling, in Alibaba's case, on any day, it can be up to 27,000 suppliers. It's a huge network that they have available. And it is change or don't be here in the marketplace, because even when we see, apart from the customer opportunity they have to order from tablets and order from different online mobile devices, the consumers' interests are changing. They want to be in the home now. They don't want to be in city centres. They want things delivered to them. Yeah. So any retailer who doesn't move is really doing it at their peril. Yeah.
So the warning really is that stark. If you don't move to be agile, you're not going to be here.
You have to move, and I think, and also it's important that you look more into futures. The traditional supply chains, you could predict certain growth. You had your footfall that would always hit the high street. And I think really now, perhaps for the first time in the last 5 years we've ever seen before, it's really important actually to start looking into futures. Speak to individuals who would not usually be in the retail community. Okay. See what's happening over in China, which so much invention is coming out of China in terms of what they're doing with that 40% of the world's e-commerce spend, to help them actually find and navigate a way through this.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you.